What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Trooper Transmission. And today we got my man Rob, aka CT 1022, just graduated as a trooper, and I'm super excited to have him break down all things fitness, Fit Nerd Academy, and the trooper life and trooper way. So thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let's crank it back, crank the clock back to summer 2023. What was going on in your life, and what kind of inspired you to join this army of clone nerds and get fit for the Republic?
Yeah, I mean, I was probably towards the end of like 75 hard and I was seeing like some results like mentally, but like physically I wasn't, where I wanted to be. I saw one of your IG reels where like nerds make best boyfriends and stuff and I think it was Alpha Class. I saw some of their postings. So, oh, this looks really cool. And I reached out and then from there, I just kind of started up.
Yeah. Cool. I love that. And that video, I know exactly what one you're talking about because it went viral and I think like 5 million views at this point, and everyone's like, nerds are great, nerds are not. My nerd was yeah. So I know exactly what you're talking about. That's awesome. You get started, or you're about to get started. You're over on the East Coast. You get New Jersey Jet or a New York Jets fan in Seattle. So was there any concerns you had, or were you kind of just like, let's roll?
Yeah, I think like the concern I had at the time, I was dealing with like a wrist injury.
Hmm.
So that was kind of tough. Uh, and like you being across the country, essentially, I wasn't sure how that was going to translate. Having that one-on-one, I wasn't sure how that was going to translate. So that was like a big concern of mine going into it. And then that kind of eroded. I was doing PT for the wrist, and then you scaled it for my workouts to not put so much pressure on my wrist and to strengthen it as we were going along. And then you were pretty much there only by a 3 hour difference. So whenever I had a question, it got answered pretty quickly. It wasn't like I was hitting you up at 6 o'clock in the morning, which worked out pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And so the wrist is feeling good. Obviously, you've been getting bigger, getting stronger. Anything that you would say for anyone who's like, oh man, like I got all these injuries. I don't know if I can get going. Obviously, if you got a broken leg, like rest up and heal. But just curious on your perspective on kind of overcoming that concern, because I know it holds a lot of people back from doing this program, any just exercising in general. They think they're too injured to start.
I think like there's always like, there's limitations to like what you can do for certain exercises. But I think if you go and find the right program and you have a coach like you, for example, that like takes the time to like actually like assess the problem and you're going and trying to get, you know, PT or OT or other case may be, there shouldn't be an issue with your training. And I think like I definitely saw that where I was hitting PRs that even when I wasn't injured, I wasn't hitting still with the injury. So like that was you know, doing the actual like training and putting the actual work in will save you a lot more time than you just saying, "Oh, I can't do this because of my injury."
Yeah, 100%. So to that point, you've hit some PRs and added a bunch of size. What are some of the things that you've learned that maybe you weren't doing in 75 hard, which is a great mental toughness program, and that's what Andy says. But what was the gap and what have you learned that's enabled you to see the physical change that you're looking for?
Eating more. I think for the longest time, the most I would maybe eat was like 2,000 calories a day. So I was never putting on any mass, and all I was doing was just like eating almost to what would be starvation, like looking back now, and then working out to not even refill or like re-strengthen myself. So just like, burning two candles at different ends, it wasn't working. Not prioritizing sleep, just staying up late and then, waking up and training at the same way that I thought it could, not stretching uh, pre and post workout. So that was the big problem. I think having all the pieces together definitely helped in the program to be like, okay, this is how much you need to eat, this is the rest, and this is what the stretches need to be, which really helped out a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I see that a ton with guys who are like, I can't add size. My metabolism's too fast. And I'm like, if we give you some good Southern cooking and you don't leave the couch for a year, you will gain weight. It's just being a little bit more conscious of what you're eating and how often you're eating. And so I'm glad that you were able to make that change so quickly. You're almost to that. You might be at that 200 mark today, which I find funny because my buddy in the military told me that that's victim weight. I didn't realize that that was a thing. And so you are just about clear of that, so no one will mess with you, which is also an added bonus for you. if you could go back and talk to your younger self or maybe a younger brother or someone that, is on your team, who or not who, what would be your three keys to success or your three lessons that you would want to pass down? Because those are really the 80/20 where you get the most bang for your buck if you focus on those three things.
Sure. I would say first, like, establish an actual goal of like what you want. Saying that you want to train for a marathon, lift 1,000 pounds, and do all these crazy events are fine, but focus at one at a time. I think the second thing is to find a mentor that is doing the thing that you want to do, and like has the body, life, or goals accomplished that you want. And then three, I think it's just like actually like putting in the work and not like, oh, well, I'll do this, next week or whatever the case may be. Like just actually putting in the work and being consistent, I think is like the most important thing.
Yeah, dude, all three really good points. And I think the second point is one that stands out to me because it's that balance of okay, the social media is littered with genetic freaks, steroids, people editing their photos, and I think it's important you do a good job with this of finding someone who's where you want to be, but not so extreme that it's like, is that even attainable? And
Yeah.
then to your point, you can't run a marathon and add 20 pounds at the same time. At least not in the way that you'd want to. And so just getting super clear, getting that Obi-Wan Kenobi in your corner and then doing the work. Like it literally is that simple. And you've proven that. And I'm super pumped to see what's next and what's in store for you. And I say this for everyone, but we will watch your career with great interest.